U.S. should send forces to shore up NATO's eastern flank, not if and when Putin escalates, but now before it's too late. So what is your response? Why wait?
Well, first of all, we work in close coordination with our NATO partners and allies and respond to what their needs are. We've been very clear, and the President's been clear, that we will support whatever their needs are, should they have security needs, but I don't have anything more to predict for you at this point in time.
And if I may ask one quick domestic question, just yesterday you were talking again about the idea of chunking off parts of Build Back Better.
Yeah,
You could get
chunking,
60,
a bad word.
Maybe
not the right phrase.
What's the better word? Splitting off, breaking apart, seeing if there was a certain policy proposal that you maybe could get 60 votes on. Anything else you can tell us about which policy proposal you guys might feel hopeful about? Is it universal pre-K? Is it paid sick leave? Where do you guys feel like you might actually be able to get 10 Republicans?
Well, you tell me. Is there a proposal where there are 10 Republicans? I'm not aware of one. Maybe there is. And there are some senators who have been out there saying they support different components. I know Senator Romney has said he supports or is open to some component of the child tax credit. He's not the only one. Are there 10 Republicans they can get to support that? Great, let us know. We're happy to have a discussion about it. That's not what the President was talking about the other night. What the President was talking about is getting as much, although we're very open to that, but what the President was talking about is we have 50 votes in the Senate. We're going to get as much, a big mountain-sized chunk, whatever you want to call it, as much as we can of the Build Back Better agenda that we can get 50 votes for. There is clear agreement on some key goals, right? Lowering the cost of childcare, negotiating the price of prescription drugs, lowering the cost of elder care, making sure the wealthiest Americans and companies have to pay more, and the unfairness of the tax system. So what we have to figure out is how much of that we can get and get approval for.
So it sounds like your focus is still on a reconciliation partisan package.
Absolutely. It's not that it's not, but you tell me, or I know you've covered the Hill before, but are there 10 Republicans who are supporting? We'd be happy to. We don't actually. It's kind of a mystery.
I remember when Ivanka Trump was up there talking about.
Well, listen. If there are 10 Republicans who want to come support the child tax credit or something else, great. They're welcome. Let's have a conversation about it. But that's not. I don't really know why. None of us know why they're ceding the ground on supporting the lowering the cost of child care to us. But so far they have. Go ahead.
Thanks, Jen. Over the weekend, insurers started paying for at-home tests, or you could apply for reimbursement. But Medicare is not. I know that Medicare recipients can go through their doctors, and some through Advantage programs can get reimbursement, but broadly, members of the program can't. And I'm wondering why not. This seems like a group that you would most want to sort of be vigilantly testing before going to gatherings, as they're elder and therefore most at risk for COVID. And especially since you said yesterday that you had all the money that you needed to fight COVID right now, why isn't the government paying for these tests?
Well, first, there are a couple things that are happening. You kind of glossed over some of them, but let me give you some specifics. So state Medicaid and CHIP programs are required to cover at-home COVID tests. CMS has also issued guidance to states to effectuate this requirement under Medicaid rules. There are a lot of people who are eligible for Medicaid out there, just to be clear, and CHIPS program. And people who are covered by original fee-for-service Medicare. Medicare pays for COVID diagnostic tests performed by laboratories such as PCR and antigen tests. For Medicare, we're also continuing to explore the best ways to provide critical resources that will keep Medicare beneficiaries safe and healthy, as you touched on. So in addition to PCR tests, rapid PCR tests, and rapid point-of-care antigen tests are available at 20,000 sites across the country. We've also sent 50 million out to community health centers and rural health centers, but we're also exploring a range of options. So I'm not ruling anything out, but I just wanted to note there are a range of ways that different forms of insurance, even if it's not traditional private insurance, have been covering not just in doctor's office, but also at-home tests as well.
The Federal Reserve issued a report yesterday saying that they're weighing the possibility of launching a digital U.S. currency. They said as part of the report that they were asking for public feedback and would be engaging with lawmakers. So I know that you normally defer to the independence of the Fed, but this is an instance where they're openly soliciting sort of advice and consultation. And so I'm wondering, this is something that could impact our competition with China. It could have an impact in many ways on especially low-income Americans. So does the White House have an opinion on this sort of question for the
I think it's unlikely we'll weigh in from here, as much as they've asked for public comment, but I can certainly check with our economic team and see.
The Times yesterday had a report about some internal memos, but they also said that there was that you guys are setting up executive actions on clemency for drug offenders and police department reforms. Can you give any sort of time? Can you confirm that that's kind of coming and give any sort of timeline about when we'll be hearing from the president on that?
So on clemency, the president has talked about. We have talked a little bit about the president wanting to deliver on his commitment to consider clemency requests for nonviolent drug offenders. That is something that's ongoing. I don't have anything to preview for you in terms of the timeline, but absolutely the fact that we have every intention of doing that is accurate, or he has every intention. On police reform, I think we said at the time that we're holding back on executive action because we wanted to give space and room for the bipartisan negotiations to move forward, because of course federal legislation would be the preference because it's permanent. But we have been considering and looking at, I don't have anything to predict for you in terms of the timing, but we have been and are looking at that through the policy teams. Go ahead.
Thanks, Jen. The president on Wednesday, when he was talking about keeping schools open, referenced the tens of billions of dollars that were sent out in the COVID rescue plan. And he said that quote, not every district has used it as well as it should be used. What states or school districts is he referring to there? Because he's talked about this now twice in the last couple of weeks.
Sure. Well, thank you for that first, because it's freezing in here, I think, as everyone can confirm. But I would say, Karen, so one, what people should understand first is 98% of schools are open currently. It fluctuates a little bit, but 98% as of today. School districts, for the most part, are spending federal relief funding by and large across the country. Part of what the president's message he wanted to hammer home when he spoke the other night, and as you said, he's talked about this a little bit, is to spend the money right now for any school that has some left, or maybe some haven't spent all of it, and I'll get to that in a moment. And it's important for any of these school districts to know that different school districts spend it in different ways. So in DeKalb County in Georgia and Desert Sands in California, they're investing in safety measures like ventilation. Cut Bank School District in Montana are increasing pay and providing bonuses to help retain educators and staff. There's lots of ways to use it and spend it for those who haven't done it. But we're continuing to exert pressure anywhere that hasn't. So in terms of, an example would be Florida, where they have done little to distribute money, to little to no steps to distribute money to across the state and to school districts. Now, part of it is you have to write a plan for how you're going to keep schools open to get the third tranche of money, and some have been delayed in that. But right now, that's an example of a state that could do more.
You just said, we're exerting pressure. How is the White House, obviously this money goes out to states,
yeah,
but how is the White House exerting pressure?
The Department of Education is really the primary conduit here, but they have been working and continuously in touch with school districts and states across the country from the beginning. And
is there a way, from the Department of Education perspective, to have a public accounting so Americans can see where that money is going toward, the taxpayer money?
We, of course, work to ensure there's no waste, fraud, and abuse, and we are very closely in touch with how it's being spent with states, and I can certainly check and see if there's a public accounting bill.
One quick one. It's been 4 days since COVID.gov has been live. How many Americans have ordered tests so far, and is the plan still to start sending them out next week?
Yes, they will be sent out very soon. I don't have an updated number of how many have been ordered. It's changing constantly. I expect we will have more of an update on that hopefully by next week. I know we have to wrap up. Go ahead.
On Build Back Better, first, does the White House need this bill to be passed by State of the Union? Is that the goal? Congress kind of needs deadlines.
We have not set a deadline on that. We want to get it done as quickly as possible.
Does it need to have a different name? Speaker Pelosi suggests that perhaps it does.
We'll see. Do you have any ideas?
Actually.
You guys are all wordsmiths.
No, wait, no, I've got a few more. On the Electoral Count Act,
yes.
I know you said that the president has many conversations on a wide range of topics with lawmakers on the Hill, but here's the question. It's a bipartisan group right now. Is he going to let them work on their own for the moment, or is he getting
engaged with all of the members who are discussing every component of any legislation that is being discussed on the Hill, including this?
Okay, one more. Sorry,
yeah.
one more.
Let me go to Jeff, because I just don't want to run out of. We got to wrap up so you guys can gather. Go ahead, Jeff. Sorry.
Thanks, Jen. This happened right before the briefing. A federal judge in Texas has ruled that President Biden's mandate for federal workers to be vaccinated cannot go through. Do you have a reaction to that?
Well, first, let me update you that 98% of federal workers are vaccinated. That is a remarkable number. I would point you to the Department of Justice on any next steps as this news, it sounds like, just broke. But obviously, we are confident in our legal authority here.
You had an event with Intel today. Is the White House concerned about Intel's presence in China?
We have obviously spoken about concerns we have had. I'm not familiar with all of the specifics of their engagement in China, so I'd have to check with our team. We have not held back, I should say, if we have concerns about engagement in parts of the country where there are human rights abuses. We also do, at the same time, work with a range of companies, even when we voice our concerns about issues that we don't agree with. Let me do this the last one, Linda.
Another Intel question.
Okay.
So they're planned for a $20 billion semiconductor facility in Ohio. How can this be viewed as an immediate solution to the chip shortage if the plants won't fully be online until 2025?
Well, I think our view is it's an important step forward in ensuring that we have manufacturing capacity here in the United States so that we don't have a chip shortage in the future. But we also, the President called for the passing of USICA, I just reiterated at the top of the briefing, so that we can get that $52 billion in semiconductor investment to get more going now.
What's the holdup with USICA in the House? Pass the Senate along.
I think Speaker Pelosi made clear she wants to move it forward. So we're eager, the President's eager to have it signed. Okay, sorry, I got to wrap it up, guys. You got to gather. I'll see you soon.
President like meatloaf?
I don't. I would. What's the phrase? I would do anything for love. Is that part of it? Yeah, that's right. He might say that.
You probably would.